Hey! Wow. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. I know it's been a long time since I've sat down like this for a video. Okay, wow, guys, you can stop. Stop it. It feels a little weird to sit down like this again, but also it feels good because I'm kind of not in the mood to vlog right now. I'm in the middle of my second semester of library school, and I didn't feel like filming any of it. I did not want to pick up the camera. I didn't feel like it. But I'm here now, sitting in the comfort of my room to talk to you people about books and stuff. Reading is a hobby that I have recently reinvigorated, and by recently I mean probably 2023 or 24 is when I started reading again. It's a wonderful hobby to have, and I'm glad that it's something I really enjoy doing again. So I thought I would make a video about how to get back into reading if it's something that you've been thinking about wanting to do, and maybe like in high school or in early adulthood you stopped because our phones took over and took up most of our time. I'm here to talk about it as someone who enjoys reading again. So I made a list. Oh, excuse you. I made a list in my notebook of some things that can help you get back into reading. I hope it's helpful. Reading can seem kind of intimidating to people who haven't really done it a lot, or if it's been a long time since you've read a book. Maybe you're like me and you loved to read as a kid. When I was younger, I'm pretty sure my mom would take me and my brother to the library. We would go into the children's section. I think it was because there was story time at the library in the children's section, and then afterwards I would go and look at books. Some of my favorites that I remember were the Rainbow Magic series, you know, the one with the fairies and stuff. It's still going, I'm pretty sure. I loved those books because I loved fairies and stuff. I have one of the books here. I think it was one of the specials. I couldn't be bothered to go and look for it right now, but it's here. I also remember loving the Cam Jansen series, which was like children's mystery books about a girl who has a photographic memory, and she would use it to, you know, help solve little mysteries. And then in like late elementary school, like grade 7, 8, and then in high school, we were forced to read books that we probably didn't care about. What did I read in grade 7, 8? We read The Giver. I didn't like it. We read The Outsiders, didn't like it, didn't care. I considered revisiting those books as an adult to see if I would appreciate them more, but then I was like, I still don't feel like it. And I probably never will. In grade 9, we read Lord of the Flies. I didn't like it. In grade 10, we read To Kill a Mockingbird. It was okay. I did not care about dissecting it. I didn't care at all. The only thing I cared about was reading Pentatonics fanfiction at the time. That's what I was reading. That's what I cared about reading. Like, I wasn't reading books. I was reading fanfiction on Wattpad. Like, when Wattpad was good and like when it was free. When the logo looked like this. Yeah, of Mice and Men. I remember liking that a bit more. The ending is really sad as far as I remember. But yeah, that's it. I'm sure we all read those books in high school or other ones. There were some I didn't read or didn't cover in my English classes. Like, we didn't read Fahrenheit 451 or 1984. I don't care. I feel like being forced to read books that we didn't care about, that were written decades or even centuries ago by dead white dudes, I don't care. Why should I care about what you have to say? I really don't. There are so many new books that have like great messages and great lessons that should be taught in schools now, but we're still doing the same thing. I don't know why. Now, it wasn't until around the time I finished high school when I started watching BookTube and stuff. And that's kind of how I got into reading, like part one of me getting back into reading. I would listen to like illegally posted audiobooks on YouTube. This was kind of a false start for me when it came to reading again, because I did read, but I bought more books than I read. Like every week I was looking through my purchase history on Indigo, and almost every week I was getting a new book delivered to my house, and I barely read any of them. And then to clear up space on my shelf, I either sold or donated all of those books that I knew I was not going to read, and I kept the few that I either read and really liked and would probably read again, or the ones that I haven't read yet that I knew I would read eventually. And as of now, I have read those books that I hadn't read back then, and I liked them, and they're still here. Mind you, this was in 2018 and 19, and TikTok existed, but BookTok as we know it today wasn't a thing. For me, it was just BookTube. So I would watch a lot of BookTube, and I would just buy whatever books I saw that sounded kind of good. Mostly young adult, because that was what I was interested in writing at the time. So I would buy all these young adult books, but I would never read them. I would just have them to fill up space on my shelf to make it feel like I was a reader, but I wasn't. I just liked buying books. So after that, I didn't really read books. I was still reading fan fiction though. I still do. I'll likely never stop. I'm gonna be 50 with a whole career in kids, and I'm still gonna be perusing AO3, perusing those tags. I'm still gonna be there. It wasn't until 2023, I think, when I started listening to audiobooks and getting them from my library. I use the Libby app. I would just look at whatever was popular and just pick something that piqued my interest. I don't do that anymore. That was just a way for me to dip my toes in and see what's going on. I knew I liked romance, so I would mostly listen to romance books, and that's what got me back into reading through audiobooks. So that's my story. I hope it made sense. I've already been talking for too long, and I haven't even gotten to the tips yet. The first one is to think about why you want to read again, or read period in the first place. Is it because like you want to learn more, or you want to gain knowledge? Maybe you want to pick up an old or new hobby like I did. Another big reason I feel like, especially now, is reducing your phone or social media use. I think that was another big reason for me. I'm sure it is for all of us, because, well, my phone is across the room and I'm not gonna go get it just to hold it up. But that little rectangle of doom has completely sucked up our time throughout the day. I feel like I'm more deliberate and conscious about how much time I spend on my phone, at least. Reading is definitely a much better way to spend your time, instead of being sucked into an algorithm that was specifically designed by these ginormous tech companies to show you ads and sell you things and not make you think for yourself. That's what they're for, in case you didn't know. Or if you do know and you just don't care, you should. It's like a psychological thing. You just have to be deliberate and conscious about it and do things that actually do enrich your life and help you have a mind of your own, and reading is a great way to do that. It's a much better way to stimulate your brain and see other people's perspectives and just dive into a story instead of scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours. So figure out a reason why you want to. Maybe you're like one of those people who like says like, I haven't read a book since middle school, like proudly for some reason. And I'm just like, that's not, why are you telling me that? That's not a flex. That's kind of sad. But maybe you are that person. Maybe you're someone who hasn't read anything longer than 240 characters since high school, and you actually are aware of that and you want to change that. If that's the reason, that's fine. I think any reason is valid for wanting to start reading. The second tip that I have is to read in whatever format you think suits you the best. It doesn't have to be a physical book. It could be an ebook. I don't know, if you have an e-reader, I don't know, you could get an e-reader, or even PDFs. I'm sure you can find PDFs online and you can read them, whether it's on a tablet or your computer or your phone, although you could probably get easily distracted on your phone and click onto something else, so maybe something like a tablet or your laptop would be best. You could listen to audiobooks. I think that's a great way to get a lot of reading done. I always have an audiobook and a physical book on rotation. I get most of my audiobook listening done when I commute to and from school. This morning when I was making breakfast, I was listening to an audiobook. I'm currently reading Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I really like it so far. Some people don't have time to sit down for a couple hours and read a book, but you could make time for it, which is something I'll talk about in a bit. Instead of listening to a podcast or like TikToks while you're going about your day, you could listen to an audiobook while you're doing chores or on your commute in your car or on the train or something. But choose whatever format you want. Don't let any elitists or ableists make you feel like ebooks aren't real reading or audiobooks aren't real reading. They are. Those people are stupid and their opinion doesn't matter. My next tip I think is a really good one. I think this is also very important. Don't discount or neglect or exclude graphic novels and manga. Those are books too. Like graphic novels and manga, those are books. You can get through them very quickly. They're usually very short, it depends, although some can be really long, but usually they're quite short, like 200 pages. They're mostly illustration, obviously, but there's words, there's prose, and there's a storyline. If you want to get back into reading, don't think you have to jump into like a 500-page high fantasy book. You don't have to do that. I would recommend not doing that because I feel like that's way too intimidating. Include graphic novels if that's what you like. Like if you like comic books and graphic novels, you can read those. Those are fun. It's something I've realized recently. I read my first manga this year. Let me show it to you. This is the manga series I read in January of this year. It's called The Otaku Love Connection. I didn't find it online or anything or from a recommendation from anyone. I just found it organically at the bookstore when I went with my mom during the winter break. She was like, Jenna, do you read manga? And I was like, no, I don't. Even though I like a lot of manga adjacent things. So I decided to go into the manga section and see what was going on. And I saw this is volume 3. This is the one I saw at the bookstore. And I was like, that looks so cute. And then I read the back and then I was like, that sounds hilarious. So then I looked it up online and I read the first 3 chapters of volume 1. And I was like, I like this. So then I got the first 3 volumes. I think it was definitely worth it because this was so cute. The artwork is lovely, and volume 4 comes out in May and I've already pre-ordered it. That felt so good to find something organically and realize that it really appealed to me instead of watching like TikToks and feeling like I had to read a certain book just to fit into a certain box of a person. I like this silly, goofy, fun slice of life rom-com stuff, and if that's what you like, then that's what you can read. And I got through these so quickly. Like I read each one in like 3 days. You don't really feel any pressure to finish them super quickly because you're probably gonna end up doing that anyway. Another manga I just started reading is Yotsuba. This was so cute. This is volume 1. I just finished it and I'm currently reading volume 2. It's about this 6-year-old girl named Yotsuba. It is a slice of life manga. It's about her childhood and growing up and stuff. She just moved to a new town with her single dad, and it's just about her fun little adventures being a 6-year-old. And there's also their next door neighbors with 3 daughters, and it's so cute and fun, and it's so funny. Like there are so many panels in here that just made me just giggle so much. It's so cute. I would recommend it to, I don't know, anyone. Graphic novels, manga, include them on things that you could potentially read if that's what you want to. My next tip is to use your local library. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a library science student in college, but also I kind of am. I feel like, especially with social media and book talk and stuff, you feel like in order to get a new book, or just a book in general, that you have to buy it if you want to read it. You literally don't. You don't have to buy a bunch of books and just have a bunch of books to be a reader. All these like people on book talk that do like 100 book hauls and have like 1,000 books in their library, how many of those have they actually read? Like what, 5? I made this mistake in the past, a couple years before book talk even existed, of just buying books and not reading them. You don't have to do that because books are expensive. Like, why is like a paperback like 30 bucks? What is that? So I would highly recommend using your local library. If you don't have a library card, go get one. It's free. There are so many books over there that are just waiting for you to check them out and read them. And like, if you get a book from the library and you don't like it, you can just return it. No stress at all. No money wasted. You're fine. But if you buy a book and you don't like it, then that's like 30 bucks that just went down the drain. Like, I won't I will not understand that. Like, if it's a book, if you see a book that you're kind of iffy on if you're going to like or not, or like even a series, like a whole series, you're not sure if you're going to like, but you just buy the whole thing without even having read like at least the first book. What is that? Like, when I have the whole Shatter Me series up here. I got the first book at the library. I loved it. I read it in 4 days. Had a very good feeling that I was going to enjoy the rest of it. So I invested in the whole series and I loved it. Yee. So please use your local library. Like I mentioned earlier, you can get audiobooks from there, you can get ebooks from there, and you're supporting your local community, so that's also a plus. My next tip is to make time for reading throughout the day. A lot of us are busy and we have things to do, but most of us, when we're not working or like in school or doing other things, we just fill in any dead space or any free time by just going on our phone. I'm not immune to this. I do this still. But if you have free time throughout the day, you can use it to do some reading, or like I said, while you're doing other things. You could listen to an audiobook while you're cooking or while you're on your commute, instead of other things that aren't good for your brain. Me personally, I love reading before bed. It's a good way to relax my brain and make me not super overstimulated before I go to sleep. It's so calming. I put on some like calming video game music that's playing in the background while I sit on my bed and I read a book for like an hour or an hour and a half before I go to sleep, and it's lovely. Do that instead of doom scrolling on TikTok and being mad at stuff. It's not worth it. Blood pressure, or when you wake up in the morning, if you have some extra time in the morning, or like if you're an early riser, keep a book on your nightstand, open your eyes, maybe turn on a light or a lamp and just read for a little bit. Even if it's for 10 minutes, that's totally fine. Make sure to make time for reading, because we have time throughout the day. Like, what's your screen time? Let me know, because if you can spend 3 hours on TikTok, it's not unfathomable that someone could spend the same amount of time reading. My next tip is to read what you actually want to read. You don't have to read some like pseudo-intellectual like BS written by some old dead white guy from like 200 years ago. You don't have to do that. Or you don't have to read one of those like sad girl novels. I can't think of any examples, but like, I don't know, My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I don't care about some like rich girl taking a bunch of pills to go to sleep for a year and being really mean to her friend. Why would I want to read that? That's not something that interests me, so I'm not going to read it. What I am interested in is silly, goofy, fun, slice of life rom-com manga. So that's what I read. Or something else that I realized I really like reading, cozy Japanese fiction. I'm going back to my shelf. This is a book that I got at the bookstore when I went with my friend. Another book that I just organically found and that interested me. The Amber Glow Candy Store by Hiyoko Kurisu. It's like a cozy fantasy novel. It's very short. It's not long at all. It's less than 200 pages, I believe. So this didn't take long to read at all. It was so cute, so cozy, so whimsical. I love whimsy, and that's something I realized after reading books like this. I also read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi and 2 other books in that series. That's also a fantasy in a way because there's time travel. If you like sci-fi, you can read sci-fi novels. If you like golf or something, I don't know, my dad loves golf. Maybe he should read some books about golf. If you if your thing is like all of those romance books that have the cartoon covers on it, like all the romance books, even if they have like the dirtiest, nastiest, filthiest smut in them, they have like the cute little cartoon covers, which I don't really like because then they're just indistinguishable from young adult romance books. When did that start happening, and when is that trend gonna stop? Because that's very misleading. Anyway, but if that's what you like those romance books like that, then read those. Don't feel pressured by an algorithm to read a certain type of book. Read whatever you want, because then you can develop your own personal tastes and realize what you actually like. And if maybe you start by just reading 1 or 2 types of book, maybe you'll branch out into other genres. That's what happened to me. When I started reading again a couple years ago, I would only read the romance books because I knew that's what I liked. And then as time went on, I started branching out and reading other things. Literary fiction, I guess. Is that what like Taylor Jenkins Reid's books would be classified as? I've read 3 Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, and I've liked all of them, especially Atmosphere. That book is heart-wrenching. It's really, really great. I read a non-fiction book for the first time, and I found it like as a recommendation on the back of a book that I had just finished, and I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting, and then I got it. They didn't have it at the library, so I got it on Book Outlet for like 11 bucks. How Fangirls Created the Internet as We Know It. It was very good. As you can see, I've annotated it quite a bit. Don't listen to like whatever Book Talk has to say. Those like super popular, like usually I'm thinking of like, you know, the mainstream side of Book Talk where it's like all like the romance smut books. You don't have to read those if you don't want to. Most of them aren't very good. My final tip is do not be afraid to DNF. For the uninformed, DNF stands for did not finish. Don't feel like when you pick up a book you have to read the whole thing. If you're reading it and you're not really vibing with what's going on, you're not really interested, you can stop at any time. Early on, I kind of felt like I had to finish a book because I started it. Then I was like, that's stupid. If I'm not enjoying it, I'm gonna put it down and I'm not going to continue. Or maybe I'm just not in the mood to read that kind of book right now. In 2025, I read like 45 or 46 books and I DNF'd 7. Most of them were because I just wasn't enjoying them, so I stopped. I'm pretty sure all of them I got from the library, so I was fine afterwards. I just returned them and then I forgot about them forever. DNF a book if you're not liking it. DNF a book if it's too long, if you're not interested, if it's too long, if it's 500 pages, you're like, I don't want to do this, goodbye. If it's boring, goodbye. If the writing's bad and you don't like it, see you later. Like, I started reading an Ali Hazelwood book because I know she's a very popular author, a very popular romance author, and I wanted to give one of her books a try. So I did, and then I gave up after the first chapter. I didn't like it. The writing style just wasn't for me. It was kind of corny. I didn't enjoy it, and I'm pretty sure like the 2 love interests hadn't even met yet. That's how early on I was like, nah, I'm good. See ya. DNFing books is okay. It's kind of like, you know, on social media, if you don't like someone or something, you can just block them. Well, a lot of people don't do that for some reason. It's like, what are you doing? You're just finding something to get mad about just to feel something. Can you stop? Do you not like peace? Do you not like harmony? If you don't like something, block. That's what I do. If I don't like what someone says, block. If their voice is annoying, goodbye. Do the same with books. If you don't like a book, you can drop it and then find something you do like. Who is clomping up the stairs? What? Those are all the tips I have. This video seems very long because I've been talking for like 45 minutes. I hope this was helpful and not very intimidating, because I know reading can be intimidating for some people, but it does not have to be. You can literally do whatever. There are so many great stories and books out there that are waiting for you to enjoy them. I've been talking for way too long. Drink water. Thank you for watching. I will see you later.
I don't wanna live
Bye.
another day without you in the dark.